What if the love that you have been searching for was always meant to come from you? When we think about what it means in regards to love, we think that it has to be external, that somebody else has to love you for you to feel worthy, for you to feel validated, for you to feel that now everything is complete and that I can now become whole because of this other person. But what if we took a look at that and thought, you know what? This love needs to come within. The love, self love is, I think, in my opinion, is not discussed enough in a proper way. Meaning that many people say that they love themselves, but yet have tendencies that mirror to the fact that they don't love themselves. That there is an underlying issues to where they think just because they wake up every day and look themselves in the mirror and say that they are beautiful or handsome, that that means that they love themselves, but yet have big issues of feeling unworthy, of having abandonment issues, of feeling like they are not enough in so many different ways. And it runs much deeper than affirmations. Although a big part of our self love journey is to have some great affirmations that we can say for ourselves because we want to think highly of ourselves. We want to think that we are these god and goddesses that rule the planet, and we are. And that we want to believe that we are powerful and that we are these co-creators. And that all cultivates when we experience self-love. And we have to understand that it's just not these self-care routines either, right? There is this inner deep parenting that we need to do with ourselves to undo everything that we have kind of learned in our childhood from past lives and from our ancestry, and reprogram ourselves and alchemize ourselves in a way that makes sense to live a life filled with purpose, filled with fulfillment, filled with love and joy, and coming back to who we truly are. And what are some of the ways that we can really undo this? For me, for many years, and still, I've talked about this with you all in different videos of the feeling of feeling unworthy and worthiness coming up for me. And when we look at that at a deep level, it's because I don't want the abandonment. I've had really bad people pleasing tendencies for much of my life, and it's really hard to break that cycle because most people that are on a spiritual journey come from a background of being a people pleaser. Maybe you've been there, or maybe you're currently going through that, so you know what I mean. And we find it hard to where we don't want to rock the boat. We want to please everybody in the room. We are always looking, if we please this person, if we please mom and dad, if we please, our sister, then they will love me and I will be worthy. And I will be worthy of this love, and that I am getting this validation from them. And in turn of getting this validation from them, we look for love externally outside of ourselves. So then we go on to have partners a lot of times that are avoidant, right? That don't give us that love back, and we are meant to sit in this void and feel incomplete. But little did we know that we just had to look inside of ourselves, right? And when we step fully into our power and we look deep within, we can start getting different aspects of ourselves to really step fully in to this self-love and to really love ourselves for who we are, and that we are already whole within ourselves, that we don't need this external validation, and we don't need this perfectionism and this guilt that we feel because of trying to seek out there instead of within. So, I brought it up earlier, and one of the great things we can do is we can talk to ourselves with kindness, and we can have these affirmations that we can say to ourselves in the mirror, right? And we don't have to have these really negative things kind of come up, and sometimes they do, right? And we can replace that with saying something kind about ourselves, like, oh, I'm stupid, I'll never get it right. Instead, we could say, I'm still learning this process. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay. It's learning, right? Like, even with me in this YouTube, right? I'm still learning. And you know what? I got some critique today, and that was okay. And I didn't need the validation. And I took that and I said, you know what? You're right. And I'm going to continue to work on that. Resting without shame. Oh my gosh, this one always hit home for me, right? Being able to rest without feeling the shame and the guilt that comes along with that. In my life growing up, I was a main caretaker for my sister, for my brother, because I was the oldest sibling. I was never allowed to rest. I always had to go, go, go. There was always stuff that I needed to be doing. I was taking care of the household. And when I rested, I was made to feel like I was lazy, unproductive, that I wasn't good enough. And now, looking back, I think that rest is very much needed. And especially when we are on this journey, rest is imperative, because we're repairing ourselves at a cellular level to be able to upgrade, to be able to raise our vibration. So know that that's okay. Saying no without guilt. Now, that, if you're a people pleaser, like I was, then you understand that saying no was extremely hard, and can be extremely hard, because we have this where, like, oh, if I say no, they're not going to like me anymore. They're going to cut me off. They're going to go away. And if they do, we have to learn to literally be okay with that, because they were not meant to be in our lives at all. And it's so funny, coming back to self-love, one of my favorite words to say now is no. And people always laugh and they're like, are you serious? Your favorite word is no? And I'm like, yeah, because for so many years, even into my 20s, I could not say that word. I was always a yes man. And I was taken advantage of in so many different ways because I said yes too much. And, and celebrating yourself, celebrating the progress that you made. Learn to sit with that. Learn to be okay, that it's okay to celebrate yourself. And the achievements that you've had, and the way that you are carrying yourself now, being on this path of self-discovery, of self-love, of being on a spiritual path and realizing who you are. That's huge, because right now, yes, there's a massive awakening on the planet, but many people don't know who they are. They don't know how to love themselves. And when we make those strides, we create ripples in the universe. We create ripples in the consciousness, and you're able to then affect other people in a positive way, and they wake up and they're like, you know what, I'm also going to start loving myself. I'm also going to say no. I'm also going to have these boundaries. And of course, we can journal to our real inner truth. What is it, when we sit down with ourselves, what is it that's kind of holding yourself back? Why can't you give yourself that love that you deserve? Why is it that you feel that it needs to be an external validation instead of wrapping it back in and giving it back to yourself and being true to yourself. So finding that out, and then holding yourself through hard moments without bypassing. And what do I mean by that? It means that even when things get hard, we feel our emotions. We are no longer shoving down our emotions. We are no longer running away from our emotions. We are going to start feeling them without letting it being a bypass, without longer being a victim to our circumstance, without shutting blame to others. We are going to hold ourselves accountable. We're going to stand in it with ourselves and let it move through us. And then while doing so, it shows how much you love yourself and trust yourself because you're able to really do that. So we need to really begin to understand that we are no longer our stories and we are no longer our past. And yes, emotions can come up, but what we're not going to do is how we typically have, right? Where we say, I'm not going to feel this emotion. I need to be strong. If I feel these emotions, then it kind of goes back to childhood. I'll get in trouble if I show emotion. Boys don't have emotions, and we can kind of come up with these stories. But when we truly let it kind of come in and act its course and let it move through us, we come out so much more stronger than you thought. Because having emotions and being able to express them is one of the strongest superpowers that you can have. And you can get your emotional body into check more quickly when you are able to do that. And to have that love for yourself and to hold that space for yourself. So remember that you are a divine being. And that self-love always anchors you into alignment and manifestation. Your relationship with yourself reflects the universe around you. Because remember, as within, so without. As above, so below. And what we mean by that is that when we are in alignment, when we love ourselves, when we live in these high vibrations, the outside reality reflects that back to us. And that is how you know you're in harmony or disharmony with the universe and with yourself. So you are not too much. You are not behind. You are learning to love yourself. And this is holy work. Remember that. You are meant to be here, right now, receiving this message. And I hope that was helpful for you, my friends. I'll see you in the next one.